Welcome back, all you bourbon lovers, to another episode on Beer, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your host, Chris, and today we have something special on the table that we are going to review. This actually was sent to me from a subscriber, a viewer, and a fellow YouTuber. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description. Their YouTube channel's name is Viewed This, and relatively newer channel, and it looks to be more of like a challenge type YouTube, kind of just a lot of random stuff overall on there. But they were nice enough to send me this bottle of bourbon, which I am honored. I mean, I'm not a huge YouTuber by any means, so it means a lot when someone wants to send me anything to review. So very cool. Check out his channel. Dude's awesome for doing this. I did not expect anything like this to honestly ever happen. So the cool part as well is this is actually a bourbon that I have never heard of, and from looking on the internet and YouTube, it doesn't seem like a lot of people have actually covered this. So this could be a diamond in the rough, who knows. There are some cool things about this, and then there are some interesting things as well. Now, one of the cool things is we have a 12-year bourbon on our hands. That is pretty sweet. It says Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, in order to be a straight bourbon whiskey, it needs to be aged at least 2 years. They went ahead and did 10 more than that. This is a 12-year. That's a pretty good age statement for bourbon nowadays. And it is a 90 proof or 45% alcohol, if you would like me to read it that way. The other thing that is interesting about this is the distiller is not listed. The only thing we know is who bottles it, which is listed on the back as Frank Lynn. It is hyphened, so it's not Franklin, it is Frank Lynn. That is about all we know, though. It was bottled in Fairfield, California. I looked up online trying to figure out who was the distiller. Unfortunately, it is not listed, so I am not sure where this bourbon is sourced from. However, it does seem to be like it's pretty good stuff. The reason why I say that is in 2014, this won double gold for best bourbon from a craft distillery. So that's a pretty good honor. But other than that, I can't find much information about that. So we could be surprised. This could be something really freaking awesome, and it's one I've never heard of, which is even cooler. So sometimes you get lucky. It doesn't always have to be a Jim Beam or an Elijah Craig or something you've heard of for it to be awesome. So we are going to jump in here after we just take a look. So now, since it's a 12-year, we have a really nice amber color. It is almost a copper color here. If I look at the light, and it is a very, very nice dark amber. It's a beautiful color. I love the look of this. Really, really like it. And you can tell that it was aged 12 years because the color is definitely showing the barrel there. It's a good sign. So let's go ahead and pop it open. Now the next thing is we do have a cork. Now it is a synthetic cork. That's not a real cork. For whoever out there is a cork connoisseur, this is a synthetic cork. It is not real. So it's not holding the smell as well, but definitely still smells pretty good. It says Black Saddle on the cork there. It's a plastic cap with the Black Saddle label. So overall, not bad so far. So it is lighter when it is in our Glencairn, that is for sure. So it is very, very, very light bodied. It is not, it's not really, wait a minute. Yeah, it is not coating the glass at all. So very, very, very light bodied from the looks of it. The legs are pretty quick. So it is a 12-year, light-bodied bourbon with a pretty nice looking color. Now, it does not say what kind of filtration this had, but I don't see any impurities in it, so I'm gonna guess that it was probably chill filtered, and we don't know the distiller, so there's no way to know for sure. So let's go ahead and give our first smell then and see how it smells overall. Now it is a 90 proof, but it's not giving me an overwhelming alcohol burn at all. The ethanol smell is really low, so really nice for being a 90 proof. You can really smell that this is a 12-year. The oak is definitely coming off. You can smell the wood in here for sure. Very sweet. It smells like a creme brulee. There is a lot of caramel in this. A lot of caramel smells. And some toffee. Overall, I would say this is an excellent smelling bourbon. At the 90 proof, just to recap, we have low alcohol burn smell. There's not a lot of ethanol. Very sweet. I'm guessing there's a high percentage of corn here. We don't know for sure, since unfortunately we don't know the distiller. We have a creme brulee, a lot of sweetness. So overall, I'm expecting this to be a pretty good sweet bourbon. We don't know, unfortunately, if it is a wheated bourbon. I don't know if this is a rye bourbon. If it is, it definitely doesn't smell like one. So I'm guessing it might be a wheated bourbon from the smell of it overall. But it looks good. It smells good. Let's see if it tastes good. That's the important part. So let's take our first sip. Now, I would definitely say that I was correct on the light-bodied. The bourbon definitely was a thinner bourbon on the palate. It skipped the front of my tongue and hit the middle of my tongue instead, and then coated from there back. It did not linger very long. It did do the Kentucky hug warmth in the back of my throat, and that dissipated pretty quickly. I would say it wasn't an overwhelmingly warm bourbon. I drink everything neat. I would say maybe for some, they might want to put a drop of water or two in here. I would definitely not put an ice cube in it or an overabundance of ice before testing it out. I would try this neat first, see how it works for you, and then go ahead and maybe modify it a little bit. You're going to lose a lot of flavor, I think, in this really quickly, because it is only a 90 proof. It's only 10 higher than the minimum of 80. So don't go crazy with this right away. I would say take a sip, see how you like it, and then modify from there. So thin bourbon, does not linger. Let's see what we get on the second sip. I made it a point to kind of push the bourbon around my mouth a little bit more that time before swallowing it. So the warmth is lingering a little bit, dissipates pretty quickly. It's already gone. Now, the oakiness is definitely there. You can tell that this is a 12-year-old bourbon. I have the wood taste from the cask in a lot of, I'd say the roof of my mouth is getting it the most. From there, it did kind of go to the side a little bit, but most of the oak went to the roof of my mouth instead, and then it dissipated. There is a lot of sweetness coming through. The typical corn was definitely present. You've got the corn and caramel and the oak. Very pleasant bourbon. For this being a 90 proof, definitely drinks really nicely. Let's see what we get here. If you hold it in your mouth a little bit longer, the tones come out a little bit more. The spiciness is there a little bit. so I can say maybe this isn't a wheated bourbon. It did taste like there might be a little bit of rye in there. I'm gonna guess that the build for the mash was, I'm gonna guess 85% corn. It has an overabundance of sweetness and a lot of oakiness. The oakiness is definitely gonna come from the 12 year. The sweetness is definitely gonna come from the overabundance of corn. So I would say it's probably an 85% build, with the rest being the barley and the rye overall. Now, I have personally never seen this on any store shelf around me, so your mileage may vary as to if you can find this or not. I am not sure. I also do not know what your price tag is going to be. For me, I looked it up, and it looks like the average price for this is $58.99. Now, it's a little pricey, I will say that, but it is a 12 year, so it makes a little bit more sense that it is a little bit more expensive. With it being almost $60, I would have hoped for a little bit more complex of a bourbon, but instead what we got was a very easy drinking bourbon. This is definitely one that I can highly recommend to someone, and I have a lot of friends that love bourbon, and they are definitely going to be ones that are going to try this, because I know none of them have had this before, because I've never heard of it. I know they've never heard of it. So I am looking forward to sharing this and spreading the word about Black Saddle. It's an interesting one. I am going to try to research a little bit more. Maybe I'll throw in the description if I'm able to find out who makes this, where does the juice come from, where is it sourced from. There's only so many places that you can get 12 year from, and I have a guess as to where it came from, but I can't be 100% sure, so I'm not going to just throw that out there. But overall, I would give this, for the money, I'd say close to a 4 out of 5. This is going to be a 3.8 out of 5. It misses a little bit in order to get higher. Now, what is it missing? I would say the complexity a little bit is going to drop this down. If it was a little bit more complex, I would definitely throw it up there. And also, if it was priced a little bit better, I would definitely throw it up higher. It's a good bourbon, definitely love it, but for $60, that's in the upper echelon price of what most people can consider a budget bourbon. There's a lot of stuff you can get for that price range, so it's harder to kind of establish yourself as an everyday drinker. There's a lot of stuff you're going up against that is just absolutely fantastic in that price range. So not knocking this at all. It is a great bourbon. Just the price is what knocks it down a little bit, and the lack of complexity drops it a little bit more. I would say if this was 40, maybe 45 a bottle, I could bump it up to a 4. And if it was a little bit more complex, probably about a 4.2 out of 5. It's definitely pretty good overall. I'm really glad I got to try it. There's so many bourbons out there that, unfortunately, I don't have enough time in the day to drink all the bourbons that are out there. But I appreciate you viewed this for sending this to me. I am going to enjoy this, and my friends and family are going to enjoy this. So I really, really thank you for that. I'm honored that you thought enough of me to send me this bottle. So, guys, if you're still here in this video, go check out his channel, show him some love, say hi to him. Awesome guy for wanting to send me a bottle of bourbon to review. Completely awesome. He's not paying me, sponsoring me, anything. He just subscribed one day and asked me where he could send some bourbon. So absolutely awesome of that dude. If any of you else out there want to send me something to review, more than happy to let you get in touch with me, and I will let you send me stuff if that's really something you want to do. That's completely up to you. Never gonna ask for that. I'm honored if anyone ever wants to. So You guys are awesome. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the review and you're new to the channel, maybe think about hitting that subscribe button. Don't forget to leave a comment down below letting me know, have you ever tried this bourbon? Have you even ever heard of it? I know I haven't. So if you have, I definitely want to hear from you. If you have not tried it and you've never heard of it, maybe instead tell me what your favorite bourbon is. I'd like to hear down below what you like to sip as a daily drinker. But until next time, guys, remember, this bourbon's not going to drink itself. You're going to have to help it. That's some good stuff.